This is the infamous island known as Little St. James or Epstein Island. Almost every luxury was present on this 72-acre island. Everything from a luxury resort to private docks and from a library to a cinema was available here. Big personalities from around the world frequently visited this island. But the truth is that under the guise of parties and vacations, the inappropriate use of underage children took place here. Reports suggest that some underground tunnels were also built on this very island. It is said that these tunnels were built for a specific purpose. Either the island's staff used them to move from one place to another so that they wouldn't be seen by the guests above, or they were an escape route for VIP guests themselves. The people who were troubled by this den were the young girls and their parents, but upon hearing the names of these powerful people, no one dared to go against them, at least not for many years. However, the veil was lifted from this entire story in March 2005 when a girl named Courtney demonstrated immense bravery and filed the first report against Jeffrey Epstein at the Palm Beach police station in Florida. The evidence gathered by the police, FBI, and other investigative agencies in this case sent shivers down everyone's spine. The evidence included names of important personalities, their inappropriate photographs, and flight logs to Epstein Island. All this evidence was presented in court, and these documents are referred to as the Epstein files. But the question is, who was Jeffrey Epstein? Where did he get so much money from? And how did he succeed in building connections with the most famous people? Apart from the secret tunnels on the secret island, what else did the FBI find? And most importantly, when Jeffrey died in such a secure jail, was the malfunctioning of CCTV cameras that night a coincidence, or was there also the hand of some big power behind it? Welcome once again to Money Matters Videos, a simple math teacher who in the blink of an eye became the world's most mysterious rich man. Jeffrey Epstein started in 1970 at the Dalton School, but his real destination was Wall Street. He won the trust of billionaires like Leslie Wexner, the owner of Victoria's Secret, and began managing their money. Millions of dollars in commission and friendships with the elite class. Epstein built a kingdom of luxurious mansions from New York to Florida. But behind this glittering world was a dark secret hidden. Epstein would prey on innocent and underage girls using his power and money. This is the story of a man who was a billionaire to the world, but in reality a horrible criminal. The largest private mansion in Manhattan, a 75,000-acre ranch in New Mexico, and luxury apartments in Paris. Epstein's royal life was no less than a dream. But his real kingdom was truly the 72-acre island in the Caribbean, Little St. James, which we also call Epstein Island. To reach here, Epstein used his private jet, which the media named the Lolita Express. But what exactly happened on this island? Claims have been made that big, famous personalities from around the world would visit as guests here, and underage girls were targeted. Epstein's world included not just money, but also the most powerful faces in the world. Bill Clinton traveled on Epstein's private jet 26 times, including international tours. Donald Trump was also Epstein's neighbor and friend in the 90s, but later they became enemies. Trump claimed he had always refused to go to Epstein's island. But the biggest blow was to the British royal family. Prince Andrew was accused of abusing 17-year-old Virginia Giuffre at Epstein's behest. That famous photo of Virginia with Prince Andrew also went viral worldwide. The consequence was that Prince Andrew had to give up his royal duties, pay a $12 million settlement, and in October 2025, his prince title was also stripped. From Bill Gates to Hollywood stars,
Everyone was in Epstein's social circle. The FBI found numerous CDs and photos at Epstein's home, which raised the terrifying suspicion that he blackmailed these big people. However, the law has not found any client list yet. But Epstein's connections are still an entangled puzzle for the world. The truth about Epstein's crimes first broke in 2005 when Courtney Wild, a Florida girl, showed courage and gave statements to the Palm Beach police against Epstein. The police investigation shook the world. It was revealed that Epstein was preying on not one or two, but dozens of underage girls. And this is where the biggest mockery of the world's judicial history begins. In 2008, when Epstein should have gone to jail for life, a secret deal was made. U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta and Epstein's expensive lawyers worked together, kept the victims in the dark, and made a deal that saved Epstein. As a result, Epstein got only an 18-month sentence, and surprisingly, he received VIP treatment even in jail. He would work in his office all day and only go to jail at night to sleep. After 13 months, he was completely free. This deal saved not only Epstein, but also his powerful companions, whose names are still buried in the Epstein files. But here, Epstein made a mistake. His arrogance and overconfidence led to his downfall. To save himself, Epstein publicly flaunted his connections with powerful people, but the media caught on to this, and the story of the deal was leaked worldwide. He thought he could buy the victims, those girls, with the power of money, but this was his biggest misconception. After Courtney Wild took a stand, many other girls also gained courage, and they all took a stand against Epstein. They began challenging this 2008 deal in court. In July 2019, one of Epstein's victims, Virginia Giuffre, filed a civil lawsuit in which she claimed that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell forced her into improper acts with famous people. Let me tell you here that Ghislaine Maxwell was Epstein's girlfriend, who played a very big role in this crime. Her job was to recruit young underage girls. She would lure girls outside schools with the temptation of money, hiring them under the pretext of a job. After 2010, news slowly started emerging of how Epstein had bought his sentence in Florida. In 2011, the Daily Mail published Giuffre's interview, which mentioned Prince Andrew, starting the prince's troubles. Then, in 2015, questions began to arise in American media why Epstein had received such leniency. After years of silence, a big explosion happened in 2018. Journalist Julie K. Brown exposed in her report Perversion of Justice how the system had collectively saved a criminal. This report set America on fire. Due to this report, on July 6, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested again. This time, no secret deal worked. The court refused to grant him bail, and at this point, the world's powerful people were afraid that Epstein would now start naming everyone one by one. But before the trial could begin, news came that shook the world. On the morning of August 10, 2019, Epstein's body was found in the most secure jail in New York. The official report said he had committed suicide, but the reality was very strange. That night, the jail's cameras were malfunctioning, the guards had fallen asleep, and Epstein had suddenly been removed from the suicide watch list. Now only one slogan began echoing in America's streets: Epstein didn't kill himself. People believe he was silenced so that the secrets of the world's big names would be buried forever. Although the law called it a suicide, it remains the world's biggest mystery even today. After Epstein's death, attention turned to his closest companion, Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell, the daughter of famous British media tycoon Robert Maxwell, was called Epstein's madam. She was the one who helped Epstein find, trap, and train young girls. Despite Epstein's death, the FBI continued its investigation, and on July 2, 2020, Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested from a remote farmhouse in New Hampshire. Jeffrey Epstein escaped punishment in the form of death, but his biggest accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, could not escape the clutches of the law.
In November 2021, the heart-wrenching statements of the victims in a New York court made the world cry. It was revealed that Maxwell was not just an accomplice, but the mastermind of this entire trafficking network who would hunt innocent children for Epstein. In June 2022, the court sentenced Maxwell to 20 years in prison. The judge clearly said, "This is a sentence for crimes against children." Maxwell is currently serving her sentence in a Florida jail. After Epstein's death, a fund was created from his wealth for the victims, from which over $121 million has been distributed to more than 150 survivors so far. Epstein died, but his files set the world's politics on fire in 2025. In January 2024, the process of making the Epstein files public took a new turn in January 2025, when Donald Trump became president again. Trump had promised during his campaign that he would release Epstein's files. As a result, in February 2025, Attorney General Pam Bondi claimed that the client list was on her desk. But when the first phase was released, the public deemed it a joke because there was nothing new in it. However, the real explosion happened in November 2025. America's two major political parties together passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which gave the government a deadline until December 19, 2025 to release the files before this deadline. In December 2025, some of Ghislaine Maxwell's emails were made public, in which she was using code names. That code name was the Invisible Man. The investigation proved that this was none other than Prince Andrew, who was hiding behind the code name, searching for girls. In 20,000 pages of emails, an old claim by Epstein surfaced that Trump had known about the girls before as well. The White House called it Epstein's lie, but new records proved that Trump had traveled on Epstein's jet many more times than previously known. When the December 19, 2025 deadline passed, 30,000 pages of new data were released, but there are still over 1 million pages left. A war is raging between the court and the government. Some people want to bring out the truth, and some are still hiding behind victim privacy to save big names. Today, Jeffrey Epstein is not in this world, but the shadow of his crimes still looms over the world's most powerful people. Prince Andrew has lost his honor and status. Ghislaine Maxwell is behind bars, and billionaires worldwide are still giving explanations for their friendship with Epstein. The journey that started in 2005 with the silent voice of a little girl today has become the world's biggest corruption scandal. The most famous and controversial structure found on Epstein Island was a blue and white colored temple.
Although no illegal items were found inside this temple, the presence of a temple-like structure on such an island raises many questions. When the FBI raided the island in 2019, the most asked question was whether secret tunnels existed under the island. They found some underground utilities and tunnels, but their purpose could not be ascertained. However, it is confirmed that underground structures were present on the island. Additionally, unique statues were found all over the island, and CCTV cameras were installed everywhere. Whether these cameras were for security or blackmail is a question that remains alive today. A helipad with a strange face painted on it. If seen in satellite images, there is also a resort surrounded by palm trees here, connected to the helipad and private dock. During the raid, some unusual medicines were also found. Among them, hormonal medicines raised the most questions. It is not confirmed what their purpose was, but the presence of hormonal medicines on a normally private island raises many questions. If Epstein were alive, all these secrets would have been revealed. This was probably the reason he was forced to commit suicide. And perhaps this is why everyone's eyes are fixed on the Epstein files. The Epstein files will continue to open, new names will be exposed, and perhaps some new faces will face the prospect of jail. Jeffrey Epstein is not in this world, but the shadow of his crimes still looms over the world's most powerful people. Prince Andrew has lost his honor and status. Ghislaine Maxwell is behind bars, and billionaires worldwide are still giving explanations for their friendship with Epstein. The journey that started in 2005 with the silent voice of a little girl today has become the world's biggest corruption scandal. The most famous and controversial structure found on Epstein Island was a blue and white colored temple. Although no illegal items were found inside this temple, the presence of a temple-like structure on such an island raises many questions. When the FBI raided the island in 2019, the most asked question was whether secret tunnels existed under the island. They found some underground utilities and tunnels, but their purpose could not be ascertained. However, it is confirmed that underground structures were present on the island. Additionally, unique statues were found all over the island, and CCTV cameras were installed everywhere. Whether these cameras were for security or blackmail is a question that remains alive today. A helipad with a strange face painted on it. If seen in satellite images, there is also a resort surrounded by palm trees here, connected to the helipad and private dock. During the raid, some unusual medicines were also found. Among them, hormonal medicines raised the most questions. It is not confirmed what their purpose was, but the presence of hormonal medicines on a normally private island raises many questions. If Epstein were alive, all these secrets would have been revealed. This was probably the reason he was forced to commit suicide. And perhaps this is why everyone's eyes are fixed on the Epstein files. The Epstein files will continue to open. New names will be exposed, and perhaps some new faces will face the prospect of jail. Jeffrey Epstein is not in this world, but the shadow of his crimes still looms over the world's most powerful people. Prince Andrew has lost his honor and status. Ghislaine Maxwell is behind bars, and billionaires worldwide are still giving explanations for their friendship with Epstein. The journey that started in 2005 with the silent voice of a little girl today has become the world's biggest corruption scandal.